Hello and welcome. I am Scrapperlock, and this is City of Heroes on the private server Rebirth with Tiger Shrike, our level 32, very close to level 33 mutation Stalker. She has 1.9 million XP, and we'll have 2 million when we get to level 33. 106,000 XP to go to get to level 33, and 15.6 million influence. I just talked to Tina Chung, and we are trying to bust the lead negotiators in this mission of the Council and the Freak Show. Seems like the Freak and the Council are cooperating, so we have to stop them. This is just a board train mission, so it's going to be an outdoor mission, so we can just do it from Ouroboros, where I had come after selling things just to log out. So we now need to bust the leaders and their crews. And now, if I remember right, when I did this mission with Silver Phoenix, the leaders were somewhere right around here, and I went all over the block, looking all over the place looking for them, and they were like right under my nose. Now, one of the possibilities, I don't know how they do the algorithm here, is that they could potentially wait until you've defeated a certain number of enemies before spawning these guys. This would be very unusual behavior for City of Heroes. They don't normally do that, but I suppose it's possible. So we're just going to have to see, wander around and take a look. If it takes too long, I'll pause it and bring you guys back when I find them. Part of me is tempted to go find that video and see where they were, but I have the feeling it would take me longer to do that than to just find them. So I'm going to wander around and see what we can find. We're going to have to defeat guys other than the two bosses, but we need minimally to defeat the two bosses. And I don't think they were quite this close, but they were near the beginning, I remember, because I went like all over the friggin' place. And when I came back, they were near here. So we're going to have to sort of look around. Fortunately, with hide on, we can kind of go very close. There's going to be a Freak Show boss, I think, and a Council boss. And I don't remember exactly where they were, like over here, maybe? But this isn't a boss, this is just a lieutenant. But we can start pounding these guys. I like smacking around lieutenants, as you guys know, because they're good for the XP to influence ratio, and also just because it's fun to smack them. There are no lieutenants there. Were they down here, maybe? I remember, I specifically remember, like, went all over the map, and then I came right back to near the beginning, and that's where they were. And I was grumbling about having to go all over this whole huge map, and I was like, oh, you know what? I didn't need to do that. I just didn't look closely enough in this spot. But I don't see anything over here. Maybe down here. I feel like it was down, you know, like below the surface area, right down close to the water, but apparently not. At least not right here. Now the obvious place for them to be would be someplace like this, right? But I don't see them here either. So this may very well be a situation where we're just going to have to fight everybody. If that's the case, I'm not going to make you guys watch it all, because I can't imagine how mind-numbing that would be. And I mentioned this on the Scrapper videos. I like the idea of the outdoor missions in general, but this is one of these things that they unfortunately did a few times in City of Heroes, where they had a cool idea. And this is actually rare for them, because they were pretty good about stuff. This is a cool idea that was implemented horribly. right? It's just too big, it's too much, it's too hard to find the enemies, it's a needle in a haystack, and just about everybody I know who played this game, in live at least, groaned at the outdoor missions and did everything they could to just find the bad guys we were looking for and take them out, or find the glowies and deal with it. Just because it took so long, and it's just aimless wandering, right? It's not necessarily always a lot more enemies than in an indoor map, but in the indoor map you are restricted to going only through the corridors and the rooms, and so it's not aimless wandering the way it is in an outdoor map. And so literally all the people I think on my supergroup just were like, no, and we'll just whip through, you know. And we would, be in a group, and we would split up, and we would all like go in different places, and everybody's tabbing like crazy, and then somebody would go, here they are, and we would all meet up, and then just that would be it. I really could swear it was over here. That's why I keep coming back to it, but I don't see them. Alright, so let's go further in. The other likely place is all the way at the back, which is where they normally like to put the bosses. So one of the reasons I also like to get rid of lieutenants is because they have a different color, right? They're red. And especially if they're purple, because if there's a boss, he's going to be red or purple. In fact, they're almost certainly going to be purple, but they won't be orange. So eliminating oranges visually does not help me, right? Because I'm going to be finding non-orange bosses, right? But eliminating red cons I won't do like a double take to see if is this a boss, you know? So that's why the other reason, among other things, that I like to take out the lieutenants and bosses first. It's also, if there is an algorithm in this, and I don't know if there is, and I highly doubt that there is, but if there is an algorithm in here that you have to take out a certain number of guys before the bosses spawn, which by the way would be absolutely horrible execution, and I don't think City of Heroes ever actually did it, but I know other games that do. If that is an algorithm that they're using, taking out the lieutenant and minion pairs might take enough of them out to spawn the bad guys. Now, why do I think it's a horrible algorithm? Because if the bad guys really are here and are really going to spawn over here, and I've been over here and I've cleaned it out, and then I have to come all the way back here taking people out before the bad guys respawn, why would I go back and look somewhere where I knew I took everybody out, right? It's like it's purposely designed, that kind of a system is purposely designed to be frustrating, and I don't like things that are purposely frustrating. I don't mind, it's one thing if you're frustrated because you made a mistake, or if you're frustrated because it's a little hard, but to be purposely designed to just annoy people, which is what this would be, what that would be, I think is just bad design, and you shouldn't be doing that in a game. And to be honest, the City of Heroes developers generally didn't do that. They did it a few times, I will say, but in general they didn't. And I don't think it was their intent in something like this to be annoying. So, I mean, I think they thought that this was cool, right? And I think it probably surprised them that so many players just tried to get through it as fast as possible and go back to the indoor missions after all the work that they did to create these outdoor missions. But my recollection on this is that most of my friends in my supergroup didn't like the outdoor missions after we did them. The first few times it was cool, and then we were like, this is really long and tedious, and it's extra long because there's no restrictions on where you can move, right? Which means there's no restrictions on where the enemies can be, and it's impossible to tell like where you've been, even though the map is uncovering. Because you have such a huge line of sight, it's impossible to tell where you've been, where you've looked at, where you haven't looked at. It's very difficult to do, especially if you're on the ground, right? And And not difficult in the way of, oh, this is like a cool, fun, challenging thing, we're fighting a purple boss. Difficult in the sense of just sort of impractical, frustrating, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, I mean, literally all my friends, as far as I can recall, were just like, no, on these kind of missions. Um, so now I've been through most of this map, I think. Yeah, we've been through a lot of it. I know there were some blank areas, but of course, I'm hitting tab as we go, so we don't necessarily have to run over every millimeter. And like last time, I do not see any bosses. I've not seen any purples. I've taken out all the reds that are around here. So that tells me that either I completely missed something, which is possible, or we are in fact going to have to take out a certain number of bad guys before the bosses spawn, which is also possible. Now the test for that is, when I was doing this last time and I started at the back, Council Negotiator, wait a minute. So I walked past them somewhere because they talked, so they have spawned. Huh. And I didn't see that, I did not see that pop up. So I did not see the word balloons, and I didn't see it pop up, and now it's going to get dark. So I'm not going to be able to see anything. And see, I've only been looking for color, not name. So if the negotiators are orange, I wouldn't have seen that and noticed it. So this is me just taking some stuff out in frustration, basically. And also, I'm trying to figure out what's the best place to look for these guys. I could go back to the beginning and look at the orange, and actually look at the names of the oranges, because literally I've not been reading them. I mean, if I had noticed something that said Council Negotiator, obviously I would have stopped, but I was assuming they're bosses. And this may be what happened to me the last time, that I assumed they were bosses and was looking for, you know, oranges and reds, and they were whites. So let's go back to the south, where I said I thought they were before. I'm actually going to look at the names. So these are Zenith mech men, so they're of no interest to me. Since they've already spoken, I know I don't have to take anybody out for them to spawn, because they can't speak if they haven't spawned. Galaxy Adjutant. I don't see the Negotiator for sure. These are just Zenith mech men. I mean, they're irrelevant. So I don't know. I mean, my normal technique on this is just start taking stuff out. Eventually, when I hit tab, I'll see them. But I'm annoyed now that I wasn't looking for word balloons, because if I had, I would have seen exactly where they were. And so this is, they were trying to give me a clue and I didn't see it. And I normally keep the NPC window off because it's irrelevant what the NPCs are saying, but in this case, it actually mattered. And I missed it, which is sort of annoying. Well, I guess I've got to go back through here and see if I can find these guys. Alright guys, I'm going to pause it here. I'll bring you back when I found them. Alright, and we're back, and I'll be honest guys, I gave up. What I actually did was I logged out because I was, it was dark. I couldn't see anything. I went all over the place looking for these guys. I could not find them. I guess I'm blind. I could not find them. I logged out. I logged back in. Started the mission over, figuring, okay, I'll look for the word balloons. And they spoke again, but no word balloons showed up, so I have no idea where they were. I even tried doing the target custom next enemy freak, running all over the map trying to target the freak show. I tested it. It worked for like Vort, for the Vortex Council guys. Never targeted them. So I don't know where they were, but I just gave up and I completed the mission from Tina Chung after like half an hour of running around. At that point, I was like, this isn't fun anymore. It's just annoying me. I hate these outdoor missions like that. At least with glowies, you can find them because they make noise. But with individuals that, like, there's one freak on the whole map. I don't know where the heck he was. I'm going to have to go back and watch my old video to try to find it. But anyway, I decided I was done, and we're going to move on to the next mission. Hopefully it won't be an outdoor one. Most of the freaks you put in jail won't talk. Now, here's the stupid part. There was not a single freak show on that map that I could find, right? If there was any, it was one negotiator. So it doesn't even agree with what they did on the map, which is just weird. Most of the freaks you put in jail won't talk, but one of them was willing to cut a deal. It seems the freak show steal most of the chemicals and cybernetics they need, but sometimes there are things they just can't get through theft. When that happens, Drek gets the service, sells the services of his loyal freaks to whatever to get whatever he needs to keep his never-ending party going. So now she says the freak show have started fighting among themselves. It looks like the freaks who are loyal to Drek are making hits against those loyal to Bile the Technophile, who I don't think has been mentioned yet, has he? Not really. That's not so unusual, but it made me go back to Schwarzwald's notes and I found out something. Turns out most of Schwarzwald's mystery informants were freaks in Bile's faction. So there's a war going on between the freaks and the Drek, and they're between the two, Drek and Bile, and now we need to talk to the Zigzag Man. So we will head to Talos Island and then head over to Skyway City and see if we can talk to him, and I think he's the freak show boss. This should be an indoor mission, I'm fairly sure. One of the things that's a little frustrating to me is these were all indoor missions. This is an original story arc from the first 40 levels of the game when it first launched, as far as I know. And that means there wouldn't have been any outdoor missions when the story arc first was done. So that means that after outdoor missions became a thing, the developers went back into this otherwise awesome story arc and put that horrible Boomtown map into it to replace whatever, like, warehouse or whatever that they had been in before. So that to me is even more frustrating than otherwise, because that means it was a good mission that didn't have this large annoying needle in a haystack map, and they got rid of it in favor of the needle in the haystack, which is just bad design in my opinion. Alright, enough about that. Let's go find the Zigzag Man. Unfortunately, we're in an indoor mission now. Thank goodness. One of the reasons that I do tend to like to stick to the original missions and story arcs is because they have fewer, at least in the first 40 levels, they have fewer of the outdoor missions. Yeah, so there was not a single freak in that other map. Another reason I really had no desire to try to clean it out was it was almost all mech men, and they're highly resistant to my attacks, which wouldn't have made it possible for them to kill me or anything, but it would have just taken so ridiculously long, even longer than wiping out rezzing freaks, that I did a few spawns and I was just like, you know what, I'm done. I was just getting annoyed. So I apologize for that. It's not really how you should be playing the game. Clearing missions like that, it's supposed to be for when there were bugs, but I couldn't find those guys, and there's a limit to how long I'm willing to search in an open map like that. So now we got to find the Zigzag Man, and there can be up to 5 levels here, but at least here I can see all the parts of the map. I still sometimes you know, miss something. You guys have seen that plenty of times on video, but at least it's not completely open and impossible to figure out where you've been. One of the other things too, guys, is, to be fair to myself, is yes, I do tend to miss things sometimes, but I also rush a lot more when I'm doing things with video, because I don't want to make my viewers sit through me, you know, like cleaning out every little corner, and that sometimes, in an effort to try to make it go a little quicker, ends up making it go more slowly because I miss things. So, unfortunately, some of this, not much, to be honest, not much, but some of this is just being caused by my attempt to kind of be efficient with the video. See, now there's a word balloon, right? But I didn't see any of that when I was on that other map. Talk to the Zigzag Man. So we don't actually need to beat up all these guys, right? Talk to the Zigzag Man and see clues. We're probably going to need to find some glowies. And see how these guys are not looking up. See if there's going to be any rezzing. Doesn't look like it. I'm going to ignore those guys and see what else there is to see here. So these are the two factions fighting with each other. Oh, look at that. Purple, well, Purple Lieutenant, we got to fight him. Yeah, there's no way to stop them from dulling pain. So we took care of him. Yeah, my heal is way better than yours, buddy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, now I don't like this yet. I don't feel like we've been everywhere yet. Let me just make sure that I've... Yeah, see here. I just want to make sure we're not missing any glowies because we're seeking clues. And the clue could be anything since it doesn't really say what it is. So it could be glowies, it could be something the Zigzag Man has on him. I don't remember. Okay, so I feel like we've been everywhere here, just about. We haven't defeated every enemy, but we don't really need to. So let's head to the next level, because there could be 4 more levels here, and I don't want this video to get incredibly long, and you see that's why sometimes I miss things, because I'm trying to keep the episode length reasonable and make it hopefully a little entertaining. Is that the Zigzag Man? No. These guys are fighting with each other. Okay, so that's the next level. And then north. And let's see. Ah, see, I hear a glowy. Must be downstairs. Yep. So this is where why we're going through this whole thing, because there could be clues around here. We got our clue. Burning Drek. So, Freak Show Online. So, this is a copy of the data that has been sent out onto the internet by the Freak Show faction under Bile the Technophile. Much of it is information we've already seen from Schwarzwald's investigation, but his suppositions have been backed up by Bile's knowledge. This information confirms that Drek has been hiring loyal freaks out as mercenaries. This could have a major blow-up if some of the freaks' more ideological factions. So some of the freaks might not want Drek to be hiring out the freaks to other people. Great. I just love when I miss that. So now I'm going to have to show them what real dull pain is like. And of course I missed him as he dulled his pain. Speed up the recharge on the heal. And I missed him again with Assassin Strike. That's just sad. Finally. And missed on the dull pain again. Placate. And then as soon as we're hidden, let's see if we can actually assassinate him this time. See, I caught it that time. I saw what it's doing now. Right? You click on it, and it doesn't actually start to do anything. The little spinny thing that goes around to show you that it's working doesn't actually turn on. It's like you click it, and it stops. Right? And it just stays lit up. So I actually was watching my videos to see that. I don't normally watch it that carefully when I'm fighting, because I just like click it and forget it, right? I'm not looking at it. I've already moved, my eyes already moved over to here, right? But I watched on the video and I'm like, oh, that's what it's doing. Now it shouldn't be doing that. I don't know why. You click on it, right? It's like you click on it, it does that, right? It doesn't actually, and no, it's not because I'm moving it, because the animation starts and then it just undoes it somehow, and I don't know why it's doing that. If somebody has a comment to explain it, please feel free to explain it to me. It's not behavior I see in any other power, and I don't recall seeing that behavior on the Homecoming server. I'm wondering if it has something to do with this server, but I don't know. I didn't play my Stalker a lot on Homecoming. Alright, so the north is the elevator we want, and now we know we've got the clue, so all we need to do is find Zigzag, and he's going to be on the last level. And talk to him probably means beat him up. Oh, there he is. That's the Zigzag man. Okay, so we should be able to get him. No problem. And we got a clue. And you're not going anywhere. Oh, that's probably going to aggro those guys. But he's dead, and we're done. If that guy was purple, I would have gone after him, but it's just orange, so we'll head out. And Ziggy's clue says, this is going to be huge. There ain't no hiding it now. It's all on the net. Information's got to be free, man. Who cares what happens? Okay, so, right. He doesn't care what happens. And Tina says, Zigzags put all the information about the Freak Show mercenary activities on the internet. Tiger Shrike, the Freak Show factions are going to explode. It barely matters if the information's true or not. When the fighting starts, it's going to be tough just to keep the warring Freak Show factions from taking half the city with them. Alright, guys. We're right at a half hour, so I'm glad I actually did pause that Boomtown map, or we would have been 80 minutes by now. I'm going to sell what I've got. I've got a whole bunch of enhancements. The Freak Show seem to drop more enhancements. They shouldn't, but they seem to drop more enhancements for some reason than any other faction. Gonna sell all that stuff off in Talos Island, and I'm not gonna make you watch that. I'll bring you back next time. We are really close to level 33, so we should get there in the next episode. Until then, I am Scarpalock, and this has been City of Heroes.